Hello everyone, and welcome to the start of a new top 10 series, this time for Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. This will be the season 2 of top 10s, the Renaissance, where the community submits their clips and we showcase it here. I put the entire series on hold for a bit for a few reasons, one of them being to introduce new content and also to make sure it always stays fresh. So here we are, starting again with a bang. Thanks for sending in your submissions, and also shout out to everyone who's been sending me your Genichiro gang attempts. I've been enjoying going through those. Alright, I've filmed some new transition screens for this episode, so let's get started with number 10. Comrade starts us off first at number 10 with his amazing experiments with skill techniques and the more unusual prosthetic tools. Here in the Hirata estate, he uses the Puppeteer ninjutsu on one of the fat shield enemies. You can do it to multiple enemies at once, and then they become your allies. Amazingly, the two fatties charged each other. And then one gets sent flying down the well.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup!
And then the poor guy ends up providing a soft landing for Comrade as well. Following on from that, we have a showcase of the Mountain Echo prosthetic tool. This is the upgraded version of the finger whistle, which is a tool used to grab enemies' attention, but it also enrages beasts, which cause them to be aggressive to everything. A lot of these types of tools aren't all that useful in most situations. I mean, you'll probably just be sticking with the shurikens most of the time, but you can definitely have a lot of fun with them. Hell Knight Gaming has found a way of defeating the corrupt monk found after Mibu village without letting her even defend herself. He used the Akko sugar to boost his attack power because he's going for a quick kill, as well as divine confetti because this monk is an illusion. That being said, shinobi firecrackers are effective on her, as are fistfuls of ash. Most people would probably use snap seeds to defeat this enemy since snap seeds actually stun it, but this method doesn't even use that and actually results in a clean kill taking no damage at all. 2 hits followed by a fistful of ash, then once he's run out of ash, 2 hits followed by a firecracker. This ends up stun locking the monk into a continuous loop. So no healing, no damage taken, no snap seeds, 1 minute efficient kill. And once you have this enemy killed, you unlock the Mibu breathing technique, which allows you to dive underwater. Definitely an awesome thing to unlock, and well worth going for if you haven't done that yet. Daniel has made an amazing discovery at the end of the game with Ishin the Sword Saint, the final boss you must fight if you choose to serve Kuro. This boss has been selected as the most difficult in most of the polls and community ranking votes that I've seen, not least because of the fact this battle is technically made up of 2 opponents. You have to face Genichiro, way of Tomoe, first, but once you do reach him in Ashina Reservoir, you will find yourself facing one of the toughest challenges this game has to offer. An opponent with 4 total stages, a sword, a spear, the power of lightning, and a gun. However, Daniel here has made a really interesting discovery that exploits Ishin so drastically that it actually had to be fixed in From Software's 1.03 patch. Death blowing Ishin in the first phase very quickly can result in him forgetting to change to the second phase. If you keep attacking and deflecting him, giving him no space to breathe and avoiding certain attacks in a specific way, there's a small chance that you would be able to go through all 3 phases without ever triggering movesets other than the one from the first phase. The way you can be sure this is an unintended exploit though, is that depleting all 3 health bars in this way is ultimately pointless, as the Sword Saint brute forces his way back into the 3rd phase. He just pops back into existence with 0 health bars and smites Daniel with the power of Zeus.
Fatality.
Coming in at number 7 is a very well-known speedrunner, Distortion 2, a player who has achieved a number of world record speedruns for a variety of games, including all the Souls titles, Bloodborne, and now Sekiro. Speedruns, generally, are all about completing games as fast as possible. Programming bugs and glitches are often exploited in this process depending on what type of category the speedrun falls into. That's often what makes this really exciting. Speedrunners are typically the players who end up discovering the more unique hidden mechanics that are way too obscure for most ordinary people to find. This clip that was sent to me, I believe, was a world record any percent completion at the time, with a time of 26 minutes 44 seconds.
Hell yeah, dude.
The fact that you can complete the whole game in that amount of time is crazy. Look at what the world record time is now. Just a few weeks ago, the record was pushed to 22 minutes, 22 seconds. And that video has all kinds of bonkers stuff like swimming through walls and floating through time and space. In the clip I was sent, there's a few highlights I want to point out. One of the most famous skips I'd say so far is the horse skip. I know a lot of people have tried to do this, myself included. It's where you jump up the towers in the arena with Gyobu Oniwa after getting aggro, and by doing this you can maneuver out over the walls and exit the entire fight, which causes the poor horsey to seppuku off the cliff, giving him the easy victory. Straight after that fight, there are a few extremely specific jumps you can do around a tree to run over the top of Ashina Castle, and by doing this you can actually run around the bull arena and avoid that fight entirely as well. Later on in the speedrun, there's an unbelievable jump through multiple kill boxes that lasts for ages, which he somehow guides himself to a grapple point to the folding screen monkeys. And with the Great Serpent in the Sunken Valley, more tricks are used, this time using fatal fall respawn mechanics. Contact medicine is an item that works as a weak poison, and Distortion applies it while falling on specific points around the serpent. Each fall and subsequent respawn reduces his health until the poison ends up killing him mid-air while falling, so that he respawns out of bounds. And another death here ends up triggering the snake and causing it to relocate to its final position, where it can be deathblown once and for all. How does anyone ever figure out this stuff, you may ask? I have absolutely no idea. Kisaragi Kazuto is facing Genichiro Ashina in the second encounter on top of Ashina Castle on New Game Plus. A very challenging fight that is definitely a skill check for this game. New Game Plus, in case you aren't aware, is when you finish one game cycle and move on to the next one, retaining all your XP, stats and items and so on. Each cycle gets progressively more difficult, enemies will deal significantly more damage to both your health and posture, but you do get more XP gain to compensate. Most strategies for Genichiro are aggressive, as you can tell with this footage. You actually want to attack into his block often to slow down his fast posture regain. He traps him right into one of the corners, getting in some nice Mikiri counters as well, a very important skill allowing you to counter enemy thrust attacks, and he does a great job at deflecting all of Genichiro's crazy katana flurries. In fact, here comes the twist, he does a perfect job, and by that I mean he has successfully defeated both stages of Genichiro Ashina, taking no damage at all on New Game Plus. But he's not done there. In Phase 3, or Phase 2 depending on how you look at it, he removes his armor, like in a street fight where someone takes their shirt off. A lot of players would be low on healing and resources by this point, but not Kazuto. He's going for a perfect, no damage taken attempt. In this stage, Genichiro does gain lightning abilities, which allows Kazuto to pull off one of the trickiest but coolest skills in the game, the lightning reversal. This secret technique exists to catch lightning in your blade while in midair and send it back to your foes. As always, it's a matter of correct and precise timing. From the ghostly version of the corrupt monk we saw earlier, we come to the real one, the true corrupted monk with 3 separate phases and health bars most people would put in their top 10 hardest Sekiro bosses. Not top 5, but probably just breaking in around the 10th place. Now, this is not footage I've sped up in editing. This is Mr. Ian Fan, who has modded his game in 2 ways. First, he's increased the in-game speed by 20%, so everything moves and attacks faster, requiring even better reaction times. And he's doubled the enemy HP and posture on New Game Plus 3. So yeah, slightly different approach to modding here than we've seen from certain journalists in the past. Not only that, but he's activated the Demon Bell, which makes enemies have better defense and also higher attack bonuses. So this guy certainly likes pain. This actual fight is a bit different to most bosses, I'd say. You want to dance with her in a sense, deflecting her attacks and matching the pace instead of trying to aggressively interrupt everything. That being said, shurikens are great as always for continuously adding light pressure when the boss leaps away, just to make sure the monk doesn't start regaining posture and undoing all of your hard work. In the phase 2 transition, he chooses to ignore the tree grapple strategy that most people I assume would use, which is quite badass. He just takes on the shadow forms head on. Phase 3 is where things get the most exciting. The monk starts absolutely wrecking him with combos, eventually leaving him with just one healing pellet remaining. He goes through a ton of resources on this battle, and it meant the whole remaining section of phase 3 had to be done perfectly, which he actually ends up achieving. He told me in his email this challenge took him 6 hours in total to complete. Aha! I'm sure you were all waiting for this one. You knew there had to be a Demon of Hatred attempt somewhere on this countdown, and Kyle Kasun is up for the challenge. What are we saying for this boss, guys? Second most challenging? Easily in the top 5 most difficult. It must be. It's definitely up there. And ladies and gentlemen, Kyle is attempting a perfect kill, taking no damage, which is just crazy. In his own words, he said this demon was a terror to beat with no damage. It took him over 150 attempts spread over roughly 2 days, mainly due to the hitboxes being so unclear and unpredictable. At some point in the fight, the demon has unexpectedly fast speed for such a big beast. And let's not forget that you are essentially fighting in a raging inferno. There are random campfires placed everywhere that deal environmental damage to you if you step on them, and that would disqualify the attempt if that had happened. On top of his huge hitboxes, his super fast dash attacks, fireball throwing, foot stomps, and crazy leap attacks. During the third stage, the demon performs a perilous attack that, first of all, must be avoided carefully, but what it does is it ends up creating a burning ring of fire around them, severely restricting the arena into a much smaller space, and creating yet another potential source of damage. I will say I love his use of the Suzaku Lotus Umbrella, which is a prosthetic tool upgrade. Whipping it open blocks attacks that deal fire damage, and most importantly, it prevents build-up of the burn status. Near the end of the fight, he uses the Malcontent prosthetic as well. That's an upgrade from the finger whistle that can be used to stun the Demon of Hatred a maximum of 3 times. If you use it any more than that, it will make him enraged. This is an incredible feat, to beat this boss taking no damage in the process. There are so many close calls as well, but in the end, the poor sculptor is finally put to rest. Emma, the Gentle Blade, is a formidable boss you must face alongside Ishina Shina if you choose to betray Kuro. It is the final Shura ending boss, and Kami's here is doing an insane challenge run. He is defeating Emma and Ishin without leveling up vitality, posture, or attack, and without ever unlocking anything from the skill trees, without using prosthetic tools, and he even has the Demon Bell curse on for good measure. That is so restrictive. It means that without posture damage boosts and no Mikiri counter, we spoke about how key the Mikiri thrust counter skill was for most bosses, but he doesn't have it. He only has his katana, so really there is no point trying to posture kill any of the bosses. This means he has to fight using strategies you don't really see in Sekiro. He has to focus primarily on HP damage, getting past Emma and Ishin's defenses to directly lower their health bars. This means a lot of running and careful movement around Emma to preserve posture and get in as many charged thrusts as possible for maximum damage. It's actually a style you'd expect to see more in the Souls games, more careful positioning and waiting for openings. It is another long endurance fight too, of course, 2 opponents to contend with, and Ishin's second stage is brutal. He starts sending out huge fire waves and even engulfing almost the whole room in flame. In this submission, Kami's manages to defeat Emma flawlessly, taking no damage, and only ends up taking 2 hits from Ishin himself. Each time it happens, it's almost a one-shot as well, which just goes to demonstrate how little room for error there really is. Number 2, everybody. Eroloth has modded the Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower model from Bloodborne over Sekiro. Now, the Lady Maria boss from Bloodborne fights with the Rakuyo rather than a katana, but it's just a reskin really. There's no transforming trick weapons here, unfortunately. So aside from the awesome mod stuff, this fight is actually legendary. Eroloth is taking on Ishin, the Sword Saint, but he's restricted himself so much it's painful. He has base vitality, the Demon Bell is active which makes enemies stronger, he's not using any prosthetic arm abilities, no active skills, although he has unlocked a few things from the skill tree like the Mikiri counter this time, but he's not using any items, and the thing that tops it off for me is he's doing this flawlessly, taking no damage at all. Look at these lovely performances, calmly side-strafing the bullet shots and jumping the horizontal wind spear slashing attacks. Perfect timings for all the Mikiri thrust counters, of course. No lightning reversals either, instead he just simply iframe shuffles through that attack instead. Very, very awesome fight, and the Bloodborne Lady Maria soundtrack fits extremely well. And finally, the number 1 spot. I love it when I can surprise everyone with the first place and subvert expectations, and we certainly get to do that today. Imagine my surprise when I'm looking through my emails and I get sent footage of someone beating Sekiro bosses with just some foot pedals and a steering wheel. So this is a USB steering wheel setup that Casium has hooked up to his laptop by the looks of it. If he doesn't press the right pedal at all times, his character runs backwards. He has to push it down all the way to run forwards and carefully hold it in the middle to stay still.
I can change the y-axis. So that's why my y-axis is connected to my clutch.
I think he uses the clutch to move the camera up and down, and a lot of the remaining inputs are tied onto the wheel itself.
This is my Shinobi prosthetic. Yeah, you see it opens up nicely. This is my lock-on.
Oh, and he physically turns the wheel to make the camera pan left to right and right to left, which also sounds unbearable. As the first player in the world to beat Sekiro with only a USB steering wheel, he of course fought some extremely tough fights, and there's some we haven't seen until now in the countdown. 3 of the ones that I think stand out straight away are Lady Butterfly, Guardian Ape.
What? No. Oh no, not again.
And the Owl.
You are not gonna do that on me. No, 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 no. Oh, saved! That was so close.
He chose the Immortal Severance ending, and his run ended up at just over 10 hours. Another thing to keep in mind is he couldn't do any side steps at all, only forward and back steps due to his very restricted camera. If you haven't noticed, there's been a growing trend over the years with people completing games in the Souls genre using increasingly bizarre controllers and input methods. Really is one of the most specialized type of challenge runs, but it's extremely entertaining. For us viewers anyway.
More like corrupted punk.
Thanks people! The next episode topic for Sekiro will be top 10 funny moments and fails. I don't think I'll be doing too many top 10s for Sekiro, by the way, because it's single player with limited customization and so on. There's less chance of variety, you know? So definitely get involved now and send me your funny Sekiro clips for the next one, and maybe help me out. Let me know if there's any good future topics you can think of. Everyone featured today is in the description below. Check them out, it's a good way of finding some new creators. Have a good day everyone, I'll see you soon.